Thank you for joining us here on this Friday evening. I hope you had a great end to the week. And as we head into the weekend, of course, we are continuing to give you the first alert to the latest development in the tropics. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Dorien Minor here with Live 5 News. And of course, as we've been monitoring over the past several days, we do have two areas of interest that we're watching in the southwestern Atlantic. The first one that we're tracking just off of your screen, that is Hurricane Umberto. We're not going to talk about that one as much this evening, but it is undergoing rapid intensification. Those sustained winds are now above 111 miles per hour, and that storm system could easily strengthen even more through both tomorrow and on Sunday. At the center of your screen, that is what has just recently been designated as Potential Tropical Cyclone Nine. That's just an indication from the National Hurricane Center that allows them to issue tropical storm watches and warnings, which are currently in place for some of the islands that you see on your screen. Again, that also includes the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, a few parts of Cuba and the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Jamaica, where some of that rain and wind parameters could be seen within the next 12 to 24 hours. Now, the mechanics behind this storm system are still indicative of very broad rotation. That's the only thing at this moment that's preventing this from being called Tropical Storm Imelda, but still, nonetheless, we still have a very similar environment. Sustained winds are just underneath tropical storm force, and it is starting to move to the west-northwest. That lateral speed is still mostly between 5 and 10 miles per hour. As we advance the clock over towards your forecasted cone of uncertainty, we're still going to see those impacts and strengthening occur. This is a look at Sunday into the day on Monday. We're expecting this storm system to become a high-end tropical storm, and depending on how well organized this system can become, we may even see a Category 1 hurricane. Notice the second segment of your forecast in the Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. It really slows the storm system down. There's multiple reasons why you're noticing this trend, both in terms of the position of the storm and even the intensity as well. That likely will stay unchanged as long as the storm system remains off the coast. Again, what I was alluding to in terms of the positioning of this storm is something that we've been tracking more so this evening. We're looking at our two overall global models. The one on your left is the GFS, that's the American forecast model, and you can see that center of circulation remains off the coast even through Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. That still brings us an opportunity of rainfall, but where we would be seeing the bulk of our concerns is over towards the coast. The European model is more widespread. That's because it makes landfall somewhere along the low country coast, and that brings us a more widespread risk of rain, and some of that rainfall as a whole could be heavy, producing some instances of flash flooding. Again, that is likely to be one of our major impacts moving forward. We'll likely see several waves of rain and thunderstorms, and there is also an off chance of some of those storms being capable of producing rotation. That is something that we really don't like to see in terms of the tornado environment. As a whole, we're still expecting upwards to 5, maybe even more than 10 inches of rain. That's still a possibility, and that will be strongly dependent on where we see that storm system taking shape. Now, our winds are still something that could become stronger, likely tropical storm force winds as an average for areas east of Interstate 95, and this is more likely to happen late Monday depending on the speed of that system. Tuesday and Wednesday is definitely something that we'll be monitoring as well. It's not just aerial flooding that we're tracking. We're also growing concerned about the risk of coastal flooding. That will be a byproduct of however strong this system is able to become, but still something that you need to put on the planner, especially the closer you are to the coast. Now, I do want to jump ahead towards what we're tracking right now because we do have an area of low pressure off to our north. There's also support in the upper levels, and we also have a cold front that's going to make its way slowly across the low country on tomorrow. For now, that's still bringing us a few chances of very heavy rainfall. It's lining up right along Interstate 95 and points predominantly to the west, and that's something that we'll continue to monitor as we head into the remainder of your Friday night. Those rain chances will actually pick up even more for Saturday, but still that could set up in terms of some of those rain chances and any risk of flash flooding that we may see happening into early next week. Jumping ahead towards your 7-day forecast, that rain chance is maximized on tomorrow. Sunday is still a possibility, but I don't think we see as wide of a chance. We'll have a few more drier pockets during the day, and then we'll start to take shape in terms of potential tropical cyclone 9. Very likely it could become a tropical storm or hurricane, and that's why we have issued a first alert weather day for Monday and Tuesday of next week. It's very possible that this is extended into Wednesday, maybe even Thursday. That's really dependent on how much moisture is able to linger around and really what happened as a whole with potential tropical cyclone 9. Again, we do have support in the upper levels of the atmosphere, but we could also see a little bit of a nudge as Hurricane Umberto is able to strengthen even more, and eventually that will continue to pull towards Bermuda next week. Remember, you can stay up to date with the latest information. We'll have more updates around the clock, and you can scan that QR code for all of the latest information. You can also download Live 5 News and Live 5 Weather on the palm of your hands. Of course, the Apple Store, the Google Play Store, you can download that app as well. From Live 5 News, I'm meteorologist Dorien Minor. We'll have more updates starting early tomorrow morning with meteorologist Chris Holtzman. Have a great night.